Welcome to the Inquiry Show, where we dive into the latest in science, technology, and current events with a healthy dose of humor. I'm Max, and joining me as always is the brilliant and witty Zoe.
Thanks, Max. It's March 6th, 2025, and we've got a jam-packed show for our viewers today. Let's start with some breaking news that's shaking up the political and economic landscape.
You must be referring to the latest developments in the Trump administration's trade policies. It seems like we're on a tariff roller coaster, Zoe.
That's right, Max. President Trump has just announced a one-month exemption on auto tariffs for Canada and Mexico. It's like he's playing economic musical chairs, but with cars.
Oh, I love that analogy. So what exactly does this mean for the auto industry?
Well, the big three automakers, Ford, General Motors, and Stellantis, requested this reprieve. They needed more time to prepare for what would have been a 25% tariff on new cars and parts coming from our neighbors to the north and south.
25%? That's not just a speed bump. That's like trying to drive over the Grand Canyon.
Exactly. And it's not just the auto industry feeling the heat. The 25% tariffs on all other goods are still in effect. It's like Trump is playing economic whack-a-mole, but instead of moles, it's entire industries popping up and down.
Speaking of popping up and down, I heard there's some drama brewing in the education sector. Care to enlighten us, Zoe?
Oh, you bet. Rumor has it that Trump is drafting an executive order to eliminate the Department of Education. It's like he's trying to erase the chalkboard of American education.
Wow, that's a bold move. I guess he thinks the 3 R's should be reading, writing, and revoking federal departments.
Good one, Max. But seriously, this could have major implications for education policy across the country. It's like trying to solve a Rubik's Cube blindfolded while riding a unicycle.
Now that's an image. But let's not forget, this is still just a rumor. We'll have to wait and see if it materializes into actual policy.
Absolutely. In the meantime, let's shift gears to some international news. It seems the situation in Ukraine is heating up again.
Oh no, what's happening now? I thought things were starting to calm down over there.
Well, it appears the US has suspended intelligence sharing with Ukraine. It's like they've put Ukraine on an information diet and it's not going over well.
That's a pretty big deal. How is Ukraine responding to this?
President Zelensky is in Brussels today, thanking European leaders for their support. It's like he's on a thank you tour, but with a side of, please don't abandon us.
And how are European leaders reacting to all of this?
French President Emmanuel Macron made quite a statement. He said Europe can no longer rely on the US to be at our side. It's like he's telling America, it's not you, it's me. Actually, it is you.
Oh, the drama. So what's Macron's solution? Start a European book club? Weekly potlucks?
Close, but not quite. He's considering extending France's nuclear umbrella to European allies. It's like he's offering to share his nuclear umbrella in a radioactive rainstorm.
Well, that's one way to make friends and influence people. Speaking of influence, let's talk about some domestic issues. Friends, I heard there was some excitement at Barnard College yesterday.
Oh yes, things got pretty heated there. 9 people were arrested after student protesters occupied the school's main library.
Library occupation? Were they protesting overdue book fees?
Not quite, Max. They were demanding that administrators divest from the Israeli economy and grant amnesty to 3 students who were expelled for joining pro-Palestinian protests.
Wow, that's intense. Did they at least keep the noise down in the library?
Actually, they renamed it the Dr. Hassan Abu Safia Liberated Zone. It's like they were playing a very serious game of Model UN.
That's quite a mouthful for a library name. I hope they don't try to fit that on a library card.
Indeed. But jokes aside, this highlights the ongoing tensions on college campuses regarding the Israeli-Palestinian conflict.
Absolutely. It's a complex issue that doesn't seem to be going away anytime soon. Now let's switch gears to something a bit more electrifying. Any updates on the energy front?
Funny you should ask, Max. While not directly related to energy, there's been a significant development in climate science that could impact our energy policies.
Oh, do tell.
Researchers are predicting that more than half of adults worldwide will be overweight by 2050.
Wait, how does that relate to energy?
Well, think about it. More weight means more energy required for transportation, heating, and cooling. It's like we're all turning into human batteries, but instead of powering the matrix, we're just making our air conditioners work harder.
I see what you did there. So we're looking at a future where we're not just worried about our carbon footprint, but our actual footprint?
Exactly. It's like the Earth is saying, I'm not fat, I'm just full of humans.
Oh boy, that's quite a weighty issue to consider. Speaking of considering things, Any updates on the legal front?
As a matter of fact, yes. The Supreme Court just handed down a ruling that's causing quite a stir.
Ooh, do tell. Did they finally settle the age-old debate of whether a hot dog is a sandwich?
Not quite, Max. But it is about something equally contentious: foreign aid.
Ah, the old give a man a fish debate. What's the verdict?
Well, in a 5-4 decision, the Supreme Court rejected a request by the Trump administration to keep $2 billion in foreign aid frozen.
Wow, that's a lot of unfrozen assets. It's like a geopolitical microwave dinner.
That's one way to put it. The case was brought by the AIDS Vaccine Advocacy Coalition and other groups. They were seeking to unfreeze foreign aid that had already been appropriated by Congress.
So it's like Congress wrote a check, and Trump tried to stop payment?
Exactly. And the Supreme Court just told him his stop payment request was denied.
Fascinating. Any notable reactions to this ruling?
Well, it's causing quite a stir. The federal judge who initially ordered the funds to be unfrozen, Amit Mehta, has reportedly been facing threats.
Threats? Over foreign aid? That seems a bit extreme.
Indeed. It just goes to show how heated these issues can become. Even Elon Musk got involved, calling for the judge's firing on social media.
Elon Musk? The guy who wanted to nuke Mars is now playing armchair judge? What's next? Jeff Bezos delivering Supreme Court decisions via Amazon Prime?
Now that would be something. But jokes aside, it's a serious situation that highlights the tensions between the different branches of government.
Absolutely. It's like a high-stakes game of rock, paper, scissors, but with the Constitution, Twitter, and billions of dollars.
Speaking of high stakes, let's talk about something that's literally a matter of life and death. There's a controversial execution scheduled in South Carolina.
Oh no. What's happening there?
Brad Keith Sigmund is scheduled to be executed by firing squad on Friday. It would be the state's first use of this method and the first firing squad execution in the U.S. in 15 years.
Firing squad? In 2025? That sounds like something out of a dystopian novel.
It does seem rather archaic, doesn't it? Sigmund's lawyer is calling for clemency, citing his client's mental illness, brain damage, and the effects of drug abuse.
That's a heavy topic. It really brings up questions about our justice system and what constitutes cruel and unusual punishment.
Absolutely. It's a complex issue with no easy answers. Speaking of complex issues, let's talk about something that's been causing quite a stir in the medical community.
Oh? Have they finally found a cure for the common cold? Or better yet, a cure for terrible dad jokes?
If only. No, this is about abortion rights. The Justice Department has filed a motion to dismiss a Biden-era lawsuit that sought to compel Idaho's federally funded hospitals to provide abortions in medical emergencies.
Wow, that's a significant shift. What are the implications of this?
Well, it could have nationwide consequences. Pregnant people with serious complications could potentially be denied emergency care, even if it's expected to be fatal.
That's pretty scary. It's like playing Russian roulette with women's health.
Indeed. It's a stark reminder of how quickly policies can change and how those changes can have very real, very serious consequences for people's lives.
Absolutely. It's issues like these that really underscore the importance of staying informed and engaged with our political process.
Speaking of staying informed, let's talk about something that's been making waves in the tech world. Any guesses, Max?
Did Elon Musk try to launch another car into space?
Not quite, but it does involve Mr. Musk. He's joined calls for President Trump to pardon ex-Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin.
Derek Chauvin? The officer convicted of murdering George Floyd? That's unexpected.
It certainly is. Musk's call comes amidst growing pressure from certain circles to pardon Chauvin's. However, it's important to note that while a Trump pardon would end Chauvin's 20-year sentence on federal convictions, it wouldn't affect his 22.5-year sentence on state murder charges.
Wow, that's a complex situation. It's like a legal lasagna, with layers of federal and state jurisdictions.
That's an interesting analogy, Max. But you're right about the complexity. It really highlights the intricate nature of our legal system and the ongoing debates about police accountability.
Indeed. Now let's lighten the mood a bit. Any fun science news to share?
Well, while not exactly fun, there is an interesting update on the drought situation in the Midwest.
Yes. Nothing says fun like a good drought report.
Well, it is important. According to the U.S. Drought Monitor, 43% of the Midwest is in moderate to severe drought, with an additional 25% abnormally dry.
That sounds not good. Is this normal for this time of year?
Not really. Winter precipitation, including snowfall, was below normal across a majority of the region, most notably in Minnesota, Iowa, southern Wisconsin, and northern Illinois.
So less snow means less water when it melts, right?
Exactly. And it's raising concerns about adequate moisture moving into spring and the upcoming growing season.
Yikes. So what you're saying is, the Midwest might be in for a dry spell longer than my dating history in high school?
Well, when you put it that way. But yes, it's a serious concern. The drought is expected to persist across Minnesota, Iowa, northern Wisconsin, and western Missouri.
That's going to have some major impacts on agriculture, I imagine.
Absolutely. It's not just about having a green lawn this summer. This could affect crop yields, food prices, and even the broader economy.
Well, on that cheerful note, I think it's time we wrapped up our show. Any final thoughts, Zoe?
Just that in times like these, with so much happening in the world, it's more important than ever to stay informed, engaged, and yes, even to find moments of humor where we can.
Couldn't agree more. And remember, folks, whether it's politics, science, or the weather, knowledge is power. But please, use that power responsibly. We don't need any more supervillains in 2025.
Amen to that, Max. Thanks for tuning in to The Inquiry Show. Until next time, keep questioning, keep learning, and keep laughing.
Good night, everybody.